Let's get to the details of Azure Public Zone now. Azure Public DNS zones provide name resolution for resources that need to be accessible over the internet, such as web servers or applications. This is managed through Azure DNS, which is a scalable global DNS hosting service that allows you to host domains and create DNS records within Azure infrastructure. Let's discuss few features of Azure Public DNS service. Public DNS zones in Azure are used to resolve domain names for resources available on the internet. By hosting your domain in Azure DNS, you can make it easily accessible globally. Azure DNS leverages Azure Global Network of DNS name servers using Anycast networking. This ensures that each DNS query is resolved by the closest available DNS server, which improves speed and availability. In Azure DNS, you can manually add specific records, including a record or 4A records. These host records map domain names to IPv4 and IPv6 addresses. A record is for the IPv4 and 4A records is for the IPv6 records. CNAME records are alias records. Redirect one domain name to another, which is particularly useful for scenarios like pointing subdomains to a root domain. Azure DNS provides a secure DNS service to handle domain names without requiring additional custom DNS solutions. This makes it convenient for managing your internet-facing resources within the Azure ecosystem. How do you set a public DNS zone? Let's unpack the step. To start, you need to create a DNS zone within Azure DNS, which serves as a container for your domain's DNS records. The DNS zone must have a unique name within the resource group, but the same zone name can be reused across different resource groups or subscriptions. To make sure your domain queries reach Azure DNS, you need to delegate the domain to Azure DNS. When a DNS zone is created, Azure DNS assigns it a set of name servers. You must take these name servers and update your domain registered DNS management page with them. This delegation process enables Azure DNS to become the authoritative name server for your domain. When you delegate, always use all 4 name servers provided by Azure DNS to ensure redundancy and reliability. If you need a subdomain such as partners.contoso.com under a parent domain called like a contoso.com, you can set up a separate DNS zone for it in Azure DNS by creating NS records for the subdomain in the parent domain's DNS zone. This enables isolated management of subdomain while still being connected to the primary domain. A record set in Azure DNS group records of the same name and type. For example, if you have multiple A records pointing to different IPs, they are organized in a single record set. For each DNS record, you configure the time to live, which is TTL, and it determines how long clients can cache the DNS response. A higher TTL reduces DNS queries but might delay changes from being reflected. A lower TTL speeds up update but increases DNS traffic. Overall, Azure Public DNS zones offer a streamlined, secure, and scalable way to manage internet-facing domain names within Azure and allow you to efficiently handle both root domains and subdomains with fine-grained control over DNS record configurations.